Hey guys, welcome to another talk. The title of this class, it happens in silence. It happens in silence. Okay, this is the fourth perfection, energy or right effort. Right effort. Okay, right. An old rusty latch on the gate to a farmyard finally gave up the ghost. It broke. Yeah, old rusty latch. The farmer did his best to ignore it, like most people do. Hmm. So, people living there and people coming to visit would go through the gate, open the latch, put it down, but because of the breeze and so forth, it never held. And so the gate would open up, put again, open up. A week later, after the latch broke, one of the pigs decided to go explore the woods, ran out. Yeah. And the farmer saw it running out and he ran after it. Marathon. And then he jumped over a ditch to catch the pig and he fell badly. The pig ran away still. Sprained his ankle. Ended up in bed for 2 weeks. The other beings on the farm, who also ran after the pig, had some fiascos that they too faced. The cook, when she got back, she realized that the stove had been left on and the food was burnt to a crisp. So were the vessels, all black. And the milkmaid, who was also in the chase, in her excitement, she forgot to tie up the cows and they went scampering into the woods, the zombie forest. And it took a few hours to get the cows back. All this hassle, all these fiascos could have easily been avoided if the farmer was a little wise and fixed the latch when it was, even before it broke. He could see it was about to break, but nope, ignore. That's not right effort. That's not energy well applied. What's the moral of the story? Moral of a story? There are no small things. Small things matter because over time they lead to large consequences. Wake up. If a microscopic, which means no can see with the eyes, if a microscopic virus was able to bring the entire planet to a standstill, pretty much, that tiny little virus, do you really believe that your seemingly insignificant actions are devoid of consequences? They have consequences. But just like when you plant that mango seed, you don't get mangoes immediately, or the tree. It takes time, but it's coming up. Tree coming up, then mangoes coming in their own season. Our choices matter because they create matter. And we need to be conscious of those seemingly small choices that go unnoticed because they will sprout either in joy or in misery. Okay? And it all happens really silently. The sun, when it comes out, doesn't bang the drums. The moon doesn't blow a trumpet. The grass is not shouting and screaming, look at me, look at me. No, everything's happening in silence. We need to be observant of life and how we're living in it. Yep, it happens in silence. Things creep up on us. So let's look at the creeping, shall we? But first, what is energy? What is right effort when it comes to perfection? What is it about? Please tell. Right effort, energy. Why is it a perfection? Why is it something we need to cultivate? Our personal and professional lives, please notice our personal and professional lives revolve around the quest, relentless pursuit of outer victories. Outer victories. Wealth. Wealth, wealth, wealth. Money, money, money. Accolades, perks, possessions, pleasures. Yeah. Yeah. Our personal and professional lives revolve around this relentless quest for outer victories. And that too with the single aim in mind, marinating in pleasures and pastimes and possessions. Yes, outer victories. But someday when? Someday when? Which means they're not living. Most people are not living. They're only hoping to live. Someday when? When the kids leave home, when we retire, when we have enough money, when this happens and when that happens. We're not living. We're hoping to live when, someday when. And therefore, in this quest for outer victories, we crowd out simple pleasures. We crowd out leisure, just chilling out with good friends. No time for them. Too busy. No time for going on a relaxed vacation, not just to bask in the sun and more pleasures, pina colada, maybe learn about the cultures you visit. Yeah. We crowd out this pleasure of just reading good literature, not trashy novels. We crowd out the energy required to simply sit in deep contemplation as to what our life is about, what this world is about. How many people step away from all these man-made realities that they're constantly dwelling in and step into nature. Ah, the beauty of nature, not there. Okay, we can also throw in a little bit of sex. Yeah, little tumble in the hay. Keep our lives fresh and inspired if you feel like. Okay, the simple pleasures of life, not Netflix, not news, not rubbish, shopping sprees. Simple pleasures of life are crowded out. And then we wonder why we're so miserable and bored and restless. We need the leisure, not for numbing our mind, but for allowing the good Lord to speak to us. So, our excessive drive towards egocentric desires, they also crowd out the extremely important need to be intuitively inclined. Yeah? Too much intellect, too many emotions, but intuition not on the radar. Huge mistake to make. Give me examples. Why is it so unskillful for us to be enmeshed in these self-centered desires and not have intuition guide us? Why? Let's see. In any sport, any, okay, as soon as your head or your emotions come into the picture, you will not play that sport correctly. Doesn't mean your intellect and emotions are not required, but they have to be guided by your intuition. For instance, here you are on the golf course, and here's a winning shot. Okay, here's a winning shot. Well, putting. Okay, let's say the hole is right there. You have to putt it. But then you start to think of what you could lose out on if you didn't win. Yeah, all those thoughts crowd into your mind, the emotions, and then tack, and you missed. Too much egocentric. Missed. Yeah, any game. As soon as those emotions and those narratives come into into the picture, we become rigid. We become ineffective. It's all counterproductive of the happiness, of the success we're really aiming for. Writing a book, too much head, too many emotions, not allowing the good Lord to flow through you, it becomes not so hot. Public speaking. There you are in front of a crowd, and you want to impress them. Me, me, me. What are they thinking? Will they like it? You don't perform because you're not natural. You're not in flow with heaven. You're not in flow. Job interview. You're rigid, want to impress how intelligent you are, how supersonic you are. Me, me, me. People see through that. That's not what they want to see. They want to see your natural self. No masks. Remove those masks. Where do you think insomnia comes from? Can't sleep. self. Yeah. Too many thoughts, too many emotions, suffering, not being in flow with life. When we're not in flow with life, in which we lose this sense of self and just allow the good Lord to flow through us, our actions and our life and our choices become counterproductive, not skillful. Right effort. Right effort is effortless, effortless, spontaneous, fluid actions that are in sync with what life, what the good Lord calls us to be and to do. Yep, right effort. Effortless actions. That's what we're aiming for in the 10 perfections. Effortless, fluid, spontaneous actions that are in sync with, receptive to what life calls us to be and to do. Master B, what is that? Well, my darling, it means life calls you to worry and to be anxious and to exploit and harm people. That's what it calls you to do, isn't it? No, Master B, is it? No, no. Life doesn't call us to worry, to resent, to hate, to harm. That's not what life calls us to do. We're not in tune with life. So, what does it call us to do? To chill out, to trust, to perfect ourselves, to refine ourselves so that we can celebrate the glory of creation. We're not here to exploit and to harm. Nein, nein, Fräulein. We're here to flow in this beautiful world in a manner where everything is joyous in our presence. We need to celebrate life. So when we, at some point, really allow heaven to flow through us, the wildest things happen. Wildest things happen. We acquire a radiance. We acquire a glow around us, a presence that is detected by life in its many forms. People, creatures, they detect this frequency in us and they respond to us favorably. They enjoy, they relish our company. They trust us, they love us, they do whatever they can to help us. Yeah. When we flow in sync with life, the wildest things happen. Even wild animals, wild creatures will not harm us. Fascinating stuff. I'm not talking theory here. I've lived it. I live it. I've lived in 4 different caves. 2 really scary. Where did these things come from? I have no idea. Okay. 2 really scary. The other 2 were okay. One was absolutely inspirational. Here's what happened in the first cave that I've stayed in for a month. Stories about that, stay tuned. And over here, just this one little story. I had laid out a plastic sheet on which I'd put my yoga mat, on which I'd put my sleeping bag, and I slept on the floor. No bed in the cave. 1 month. On the day I was leaving, rolled up my sleeping bag, stuffed it, rolled up my yoga mat, get it ready, put it on my backpack. And then, my dear friends, when I lifted the sheet, the plastic sheet, I was a little horrified. Right under my head, in the space right under my head, yeah, a Himalayan centipede. Do you know how dangerous they are if they sting you? 1 foot in length, 1 foot, huge Himalayan centipede had made a nest right under my head. With a little hole resting right there. I have no clue how long it has been there. I was there for a month. I don't know when it went in there. It could have easily harmed me. These creatures are not there to harm you unless you just step on them or whatever. Yeah. I slept beautifully every night, and this little creature was coiled up right there. Wow. Fascinating. How was I protected? And not just with this, there's other things. Stay tuned for those stories. Are you understanding, please? When we flow in harmony with life, we are protected, we're guided, and we are prospered in amazing ways when we get that ego out of the ball game and just allow life to guide us. Fantastic things happen. So this remarkable know-how, this remarkable, high quality, practical way of living in this world with power and grace only comes not from egocentric desires. It comes from allowing ourselves to be guided by life's immaculate wisdom. It's possible. I have done it. I am still doing it. And you can also do it. Only if you practice correctly. Not otherwise. Yeah, it's a tough practice. But there's nothing more rewarding than to live in flow with life. Are you understanding? Okay. Let's see what happens when we're not in flow with life. Let's see the consequences. Okay. Well, we're already seeing them, but let me just point it out. There are way too many beings, way too many beings out there hanging out who give up on their dreams for a bright and beautiful and flourishing life after they have chosen their careers and their marital partners unwisely, egocentric. They're stuck in a job they detest, in a relationship which is a little bit nightmarish, and they give up on their dreams. And they settle for this ill-fated compromise simply because they don't have the skills to know that there is a way to salvation. Only a few realize that and step on the road to salvation, whereas the majority live in the mess they have created for themselves. You see, they believe, without spiritual clarity, they believe that it is not practical for them to do something that they really love to do because where will the money come from? Money, money. They believe it's so difficult to find their soulmate, someone they would cherish till the end of their days and be cherished by. Oh Lord, it's so difficult. Yes, it is difficult, but it can be done. People are doing it. I've done it. Before I left the US, after graduation in 1983, degree in hand, which was really useless. I wasn't interested in being a graphic designer. Okay. Before I left the US, I was already deeply into the practice, deep into the practice. And being deeply into the practice, I had this direct line with the good Lord above. And he whispered to me, Behram, you will be going back to India. I had lived outside of India for 18 years, roughly. 12 years in Africa, 5 years in the US. A little here and there, about 18 years. Okay? I barely knew the language. I had forgotten how to speak Hindi. I had no real contacts apart from a few family members. You're going to go back to India? The Lord was telling me, and you're not going to work. You will let life guide you and support you. You will not work. Your work is to wake up. Your work is to be fully engaged in your practice. That's your task. But how will I do it, Lord? You will just trust. It will happen. But how? I was scared out of my wits. But this was a persistent thought. You will not work when you get to India. You will look for teachers and look for training, and you will let life support you. The intellect and the emotions going haywire. How? How? It's not for you to know how. The good Lord tests us. You say you love me? You say you trust me? Well, get in there. Oh, you have no idea how scared, how many tears I wept. How will this happen? But when you're called, you are compelled to follow. Because if you don't, well, actually, there is no choice. Came back to India. I had hardly any money. Not much money. But you will be amazed. Like I keep saying in some classes, wait till my autobiography comes out. You'll be amazed at how brilliantly life held me, guided me, nurtured me. With little money, I traveled to Thailand, Sri Lanka, Japan. How did I do that? Fascinating stuff. It's not just that. I have found my calling when I was 24, 23, 24, 25, early in life, 1980, January, precisely. How many people follow their calling? I love what I do. absolutely adore what I do. I don't do it for the money. I just do it for the love. How many people live like that? And hey, relationship wise, about 30 years ago, I met Sherry, the lady who assists me in my work. The relationship we have, oh, mind boggling. The love we feel for each other, absolutely beyond words. I didn't go looking for her. She didn't come looking for me. The way that happened, that's a story in itself. We still work together brilliantly, and we will love each other till the end of our days. She's 6 years older to me. Should I be going for a younger babe? Not at all. I adore her, and she adores me. And this kind of relationship is possible. I have money, not enough to buy a Ferrari, but I live a comfortable life. I've lived well, even in the huts which I've stayed in the mountains, it was fairly comfortable. Yeah, there was all kinds of creatures running around. What I'm saying is that not that I'm special. I'm not saying that. Not at all. What I'm saying is that the good Lord is special in the ways He guides people and the things that are showered upon us if we only love enough. Instead of living in this fear, where will the money come from? I had no clue where the money would come from, but the money came, the help came, everything happened seamlessly, brilliantly. I could never have planned it. It is possible. I'm living proof of it. All right. Okay. So, the thing is, we have been taught to believe that to erroneously that the best way to achieve our objectives is through deep reasoning, planning, research, head, head. Terrible advice. Terrible. The most important decisions in our lives, career choices, marital choices, parental choices, how to parent correctly, cannot come through the head. Because even with, after all, the reasoning, the planning, and the research, millions of people still end up in the ditch. Still end up in the ditch. All that research, how to get the best job, how to make big money, riddled with illnesses, antidepressants, suicide, family fiascos. Here's this fellow living on the hill, the prosperous hill, Jack and Jill. His son is now riding with the Hells Angels. How did that happen? Respectable family. And the son is a Hells Angel. Tattooed. We did our best to raise him well, but something went wrong. Yes, something did go wrong. Okay, all right. Not skillful choices. Head. Too much head, not skillful. All right. The thing is, everything is hard before it becomes easy. Think of driving. It was not easy in the beginning, but now, one hand on the wheel, one hand on your babe, you can chat. No worries. Yeah. Everything is hard before it becomes easy. And for us to make it easy on ourselves, to practice well, to gain traction in the practice, we need to tune into the pre-existing harmony of the cosmos itself. We need to tune in. The pre-existing harmony is there. The peace, the joy, the magnificence is there. We just need that connection. Do you want to know how? Yeah. Okay. So we need to consider something called activation energy. Do you know what activation energy is? Simply put, it is the minimum or the least amount of energy required to produce any form of change. Different things require different activation energies. Yeah. Activation energy, but we need that. Everything needs that activation energy dependent on rising to change into something different. Water, for instance, will only boil at a certain temperature. Yeah. 212 degrees Fahrenheit. Yes. Not 100 degrees Fahrenheit, not 200 degrees Fahrenheit, not 211 degrees Fahrenheit. No, no, it will only simmer for it to boil. 212. It is a natural law. Well, depending on your elevation, obviously. Sea level or mountains is a little different, but everything has its activation energy. Understanding point. Understanding this point? Okay. Very important point. What is your activation energy? What activation energy do you require for you to establish a solid foundation from which to be God's pet, like the teacher's pet? Yeah. What activation energy do you require for you to establish a solid, unshakable foundation in establishing this connection with life's pre-existing harmony? Master P? No clue. Yeah, honey. You definitely don't have a clue. So let's see what it is. I discovered my calling in January 1980 when I did that class, when I did that seminar called EST training, Earhart Seminar Training. Changed my life in radical ways. Brilliant. The best choice, one of the best choices I've made in my life. Okay. I was so deeply inspired after emerging, during and after emerging from that training, that I set up a meditation practice. Yeah. 6 to 7 in the evening, 6 to 7 in the morning. 2 anchor points. I was in college, I had assignments to do, classes to go to, but I made it a point that I would not let any worldly condition shake me from this commitment. And I would sit and I would sit. Yeah. And in the deep love for my practice, my heart would actually throb with this love, want to get on that meditation cushion in my dorm room. At 5 in the evening, already, even if I was in class, my mind would suddenly start to go into this peaceful state. It was like an inner clock. It's like if you were to meet someone you absolutely adored at a certain time, you would already be thinking about them before. Exactly like that. Yeah. Around 5 o'clock, my mind would sink into this quiet space. I would already be pre-prepared for my 6 o'clock sitting appointment on the cushion. In the morning, I would wake up around before 5 even. I knew that in an hour I would be sitting. Yeah. So I'd wake up early, take my shower, freshen up, and then I would sit. And I just loved sitting. I loved reading the literature. During my summer holidays in college, I would go travel to ashrams to train. Yeah. That's how I used my summer holidays. So I had this incredibly throbbing, deeply loving relationship with my practice. That was my activation energy. And because I was so engrossed in this love, so deeply imbued with love, that within 6 months, 6 months, the Lord revealed something fantastic to me. Yeah, my first insight, deep, profound insight into the true nature of reality. How many people practice for years, a whole lifetime, and nothing happens? They don't have the activation energy. It's simmering. It's not boiling. I was boiling point. Yeah, I was ready to give my life for it. And that's why I was ready to give my life when the good Lord said in 1983, after graduation, Behram, you're going to India and you're going to let life support you. Because I already had established that trust in God. I was ready to make the leap of faith, right? Activation energy. So, what is required is that our heart has to be aflame with this passionate love for God, this deep desire to know God, to serve God or transcendental forces, whatever term you want to use. Without that, book learning, even coming to classes, not enough. Need activation energy, minimum amount. Minimum amount is a lot of love. Let me explain. It must be, how can I acquire this love? My darling, here's how you do it. How many of you love Alison Smith? Alison Smith, yeah. That babe with the braided hair, tree hugging, smoothie slurping, sprout munching babe. Yeah. Runs around in thongs, wears simple dresses, no makeup, doesn't dye her hair. She's a natural beauty. When she smiles, when she laughs, there is no symphony in the world that equates with her laughter. The joy she brings. Do you love her? Allison, Sister Allison. Yeah? Smoothie slurping, tree hugging, babe. Radiant, gorgeous, In her presence, you forget all your troubles. And yet you don't love her? Come on, guys. What's up? It must be. I don't know her. I've never heard of her. Exactly my point. You can't love someone or something you do not know. You can't love the teachings and acquire that deep passion for the teachings if you don't know them, if you don't study them properly, if it's just a cursory glance. How many people love themselves? They don't love themselves. They have this ridiculous self image because they don't know themselves. They don't know themselves because, well, 100 different reasons. The point here is you have to know something deeply enough to love it and to appreciate it. A car mechanic, a really good car mechanic, doesn't just drive cars. When he drives his car or drives anyone's car, he doesn't just drive the car. He appreciates what's gone into the engine. He appreciates the car not just because of the smoothness, but because of what's gone inside that car. He knows the engine, so he appreciates it. Another example, a fly. Flies, yeah. Mosquitoes. Yeah, mosquitoes, flies, cockroaches. For most people, these creatures have to be exterminated. Yeah? Yeah. But do you know that there are beings on the planet who absolutely love them? Oh, they absolutely love them. Who are these beings? No, not those guys who've escaped from the asylum. No, no, not those guys. They're called entomologists, people who study insects. They have a somehow passion for insects. When they study that fly, oh, oh, they're absolutely enthralled by the way a fly is made, the way the good Lord has made a fly and a mosquito and a cockroach. Yep, they love those creatures and others. There are people who love snakes. I'm one of them. I had one in the US. Yeah, in college, I had a snake. I just carried it inside my shirt, wrap itself around my neck. That's another story. Now, the thing is, there are people who love insects, entomologists, and they love them because they study them and they see how fascinating they are. To love the practice, you have to study the practice. You have to live the practice. And then you acquire the activation energy, and the practice yields its amazing secrets and benefits to us. Not otherwise. It just remains, I'm a dumb student, Master B. Okay, but you're still an idiot. Yeah, Master B. Yeah, we can wake up, but it requires lots of love. Please understand. So, what is or what are the defining features of right practice, of establishing this foundation for you to move forward in life? What is the foundation? Deep focus, deep concentration on what you are learning. Deep focus, deep concentration on how you are living. Yeah, not scattered mind, not distracted mind, focused mind. Then you can appreciate how profound the teachings are. What the Buddha taught. When I read the root texts, you guys won't be able to do it. I feel joy, absolute tears come out of my eyes. But when the average person reads those texts, can't go beyond one page. It's boring. It's not boring for me. For me, it's fascinating stuff. Absolutely. I'm riveted. Yeah. Concentration, a well focused mind, equates with right effort, right practice. Second, we are acutely responsive to our environment, the people, the creatures, the environment itself. Acutely responsive. Where can I make a difference? How can I help? How can I love more? How can I bless more? Yeah, responsive to the environment, not tuned out, not taking things for granted, deeply grateful for the blessings, the countless blessings we enjoy daily. That's the defining feature of right praxis. Third one, this deep joy because we are present to ourselves and to the world. Everything, the simplest things, are seen as wondrous, brilliant. Ah, absolutely brilliant. On my balcony there, right there on the balcony, on the beam of one of the doors, so sliding doors, a wasp started building its home. I've been watching it for the last month. People, oh, wasp, oh my God, it's gonna bite me. Been walking around, it doesn't do anything to me. I've been watching how industriously it brings the earth from the garden and it's built its little home. Okay? Absolute brilliance. How does it know how to make that home? It's brilliant stuff. I don't need TV to be entertained. I'm looking at nature. Yeah. This joy that comes simply in being present to life's wonder is there. And when we live in these elevated states, instead of being bored and restless, guess what happens? Channel. Open channel for the good Lord to guide us in whatever we're doing so that we become highly effective in creating the outcomes we desire. Highly effective, not sloppy doing, not wishy-washy doing, full on. And when we're doing something really full on, with the good Lord right there flowing through us, every cell in our body, guess what happens? Guess what happens? Self disappears. There's no Master B. There's no Behram. Behram is not doing anything. There is just this witnessing in how things happen. When I'm creating, I am creating these classes. I'm not doing it. The words and the concepts just pour out of me. I'm not doing it. So many times since I started teaching 30 years ago, the students have been telling me the same refrain pretty much. Master B, when you teach, it's like you're talking directly to me. This is exactly what I needed to hear. Thanks for the teachings, Master B. I really feel you're talking right to me. I don't even know some of these people. They've come into the classes the first time. How do I know what they need? I don't know. The pre-existing harmony of cosmos, that knows. That's how it works. Not only does the self disappear, but time disappears. When I'm working, when I'm focused on what I'm doing, there is no sense of time. It's gone. When you're living in this timeless zone, you remain youthful. Youthful. I'm 69 years old today. 69. Some people, they say, I don't look 69. I don't look 69. Well, maybe. Yeah. Timeless. You don't need Botox. Just have to live correctly, right effort, effortless effort. I don't put in the effort. I simply open my heart and mind. Oh Lord, thy will be done. And it flows magically. So to flow with life, here's what's required. Here are some examples of how to tune into this pre-existing harmony. When Columbus set sail to discover America, or to discover India, actually, he went the wrong route. Yeah, he was looking for India, but he went into America. That's why they call them Red Indians. Did they use rowing to get there? Yes, they had the option of rowing in those large ships. But they got there by setting up those sails. Yes, sails, sailboats, harnessing the power of the wind. That's what you got to do. Harness the power of universal forces, not you doing it. Harness the power of the universal forces that are all around you. Yes, you can. Train yourself and educate yourself in the Dhamma. Read a few books, watch a few videos. You can train yourself. But it is never, ever, ever, ever as good as the broad view and the skills you acquire from being trained by a skillful teacher. Doesn't even come close. Yeah. That's why I traveled to Thailand and Sri Lanka and Japan and in India and in the US. I trained with teachers. Couldn't have done it myself. Couldn't have done it myself. Okay. You can train yourself, you can guide yourself, watching videos, reading books, and thinking you're getting somewhere, but you're going around in circles. Yeah, never as good as the broad and deep view you acquire, the skills you acquire in association with a skilled teacher. Look for teachers in your area. When I say teacher, I don't mean you come to my classes. If you want, you can. Now it's an online. But look for teachers in your area who you can train with. Alone, the Lone Ranger mentality, ego, ego, ego. No connection with the Lord. No can happen. Okay? How to live and flow with life? Well, you can rely on your intellect and your emotions, all that reasoning and the logic to make your life decisions, but you will most likely end up in the ditch. The better choice is to open that faculty, third eye, third ear, third nose. Well, better to allow intuition to guide us. Intuition, inner tuition, inner guidance. Intuition has the full support of the universe. That's why it can guide us flawlessly. I was guided, I am guided flawlessly. Not the intellect, not the emotions. Nine, Fräulein, no can. They're not reliable guides. They lead to fiascos because we're living in a highly elusive world. Highly elusive. For us to be effective in this world, for us to navigate skillfully through its many illusions and challenges, we need a right effort, not the wrong effort. Okay, hi. What I've said so far is one aspect of this class. Now we come to the crux of the matter. Yes. For us to achieve this spontaneous, effortless, fluid way of living, yeah, and to achieve outstanding results in serving others, this is what's required. Pay attention. Tell me, my virtual friends, what is the function of mythology, folk tales, fairy tales? What function do they serve? Why are they there? Are they there because there was no TV in those days? No social media? Why do we have mythology? Why do we have fairy tales, folk tales? Why? What are they for? What function do they serve? They're there to guide us as to what to think, how to think, and how to behave in this ever-changing world full of surprises. That's what they're teaching aids. Yeah. Exactly the same teaching aids as when you tune into life, life will guide you towards what to think, how to think, and how to behave. It will guide you impeccably. Mythology, these folk tales, and these fairy tales are teaching aids for the masses who are a little bit lost in the zombie forest. So, Master, what exactly are you pointing at? Well, the theme in these tales, yeah, the heroes and the heroines are usually having to face some wild challenges. Yeah, the demons, the witches, the wizards, the dragons. that have to be faced, surmounted, before they can live happily ever after. Yeah, the prize is usually some hot babe, male or female. Yeah, happily ever after. But they have to face and surmount challenges before they are rewarded with wealth and health and pleasures. Hot babes. When we come of age, when we come of age and we are ready for trying something different, the good Lord knows when that ripening moment arises. And therefore, the good Lord gives us with something called the moment of truth. And what is a moment of truth? Well, it comes in two forms. It comes either as a reality check or it comes as a purification. Okay, moments of truth. As a reality check, it comes in two forms. Keep track, get your calculator, just keep track. Moments of truth, they will arise. We all have to face our moments of truth. Nobody can escape it. No can do. The good Lord, the Buddha, he went through his moments of truth. I've been through mine quite a bit. Okay? We all have to face our moments of truth. Moments of truth come in two forms, as a reality check and as a purification. Let us look at the reality check first. Okay, that comes in two forms. Worldly reality check and spiritual reality check. A worldly reality check, moment of truth, simple. Exam at the end of your semester. Okay, have you been studying well? Moment of truth. Or have you been partying? Do you pass the exam or do you flunk? Moment of truth. When you go for a job interview, it's a moment of truth. When you're questioned, can you answer those questions correctly without any facade? Can they see your true nature when you're talking, the naturalness in you? Or are you stiff and rigid, trying to impress? When you're in your workplace, moment of truth. Are you performing correctly or are you surfing the net when the boss is not looking? Yeah? Are you meeting the targets? Moments of truth. In a relationship, is it flourishing or you just got the papers for divorce? Moments of truth. Were you nurturing your partner? That's why she or he gave you this notice for a divorce? Moments of truth. Yeah, they come in worldly or spiritual forms. My moment of truth in spiritual form came when the good Lord said to me, you're going to India and you're not going to work. I love you, Lord. I trust you, Lord, but no. Mm-mm. Do you really love me? Do you really trust me? Come on, brother, take a leap of faith. Moment of truth. Life tests you. In the Bible, Genesis, Old Testament. Yeah, 22, 119. Abraham and Isaac. You know the story? Abraham was about 100 years old, rather old. His wife, 90. He had waited 25 years to have a son that was promised to him by the good Lord. 25 years for a son. Son is finally born. Isaac. Beautiful. He loved his son. And when Isaac was a little older, the good Lord whispered to Abraham and said, "My man, come along. You need to sacrifice your son. I want a burnt sacrifice. You will go on that mountain there and kill your son to show your love for me. My Lord, my only son. I've waited 25 years. I'm 100 years old, or whatever. Okay? Yes, you will do it." Well, Abraham went off, trottled off to the hill, to the mountain. And just when he was ready to help his son to rebirth, the good Lord stopped him and said, "Stop. Not required. It was just a test, boy. Just a test. Not required. There, over there in the bush over there, you'll find a ram. Yeah? Its horns are caught in the brambles. Use that ram for the sacrifice. This is not required." Ultimate test of faith. When we passed that test, the wildest things happen. Heaven flows to earth through us, and we become a channel of God. No better way to live. No better way to live. Not a channel of ego. Not good. Okay. Moments of truth. Do you really, when you go to the temples, when you go to the churches, when you go to the synagogues, and you pray to God, "God, I love you," is it just with the tongue? It has to be shown in the way you live your life with faith. No space for anxiety, no space for fear, no space for doubt and insecurity. You walk in this world with power and grace because the good Lord walks right beside you. That's how you live. That's right effort. Now we come to the other part. Purification. Yeah. When a moment of truth comes to us in the form of purification, it implies crisis. Crisis! Oh! Person you love dies, betrays you, runs off. You lose your money, you lose your home, you lose your health. Crisis, difficult moments. Yeah. Hey, what a crisis does is it leads to catharsis when approached correctly. When approached incorrectly, crisis is a means for premature rebirth. Pop. We don't like it. We can't handle it. We kill ourselves. Okay? That's not the moment of truth we want. We want to face the crisis correctly. And correctly means catharsis, release, letting go, purging. That's catharsis. In the early years of my practice, the amount that I had to let go, the pain, the misery that I didn't even know I was carrying. Ugh. Tears, torrents. I filled up 3 Olympic-sized swimming pools with my tears. And I was doing laps in them, backstroke, butterfly, all kinds of strokes. In those 3 Olympic-sized swimming pools filled with my tears. Yeah, it's a purification process. It's a process where we are rewiring, restructuring, realigning ourselves towards a better way of living. It's not easy, but the relief that comes from letting go of all the garbage we're carrying inside of us is absolutely phenomenal. Yep. Most people believe, like I said in the other class, that personal refinement is as simple as changing the outfits on a Barbie doll. But it's not as simple. No. Master B, I meditate. Do you really? Have you cried any tears? No, Master B, I haven't cried any tears. Have you been through any dark periods? No, Master B, no dark periods. I just live in this bliss. Yeah, honey pie, you're not meditating. You're fooling yourself. Okay? Most of us believe that practice is some airy, fairy, tree hugging, smoothie sipping reality. It's not. It involves a descent before an ascent can be made. It is deep and it is also dark. Real practice, genuine practice. So, what does it mean to have the descent before the ascent can be made? There's a saying, sorrows that have no vent in tears will make other organs weep. Brilliant saying. Sorrows which have no vent in tears will make other organs weep. The suppression, the repression, the unforgiving, the resentments we are carrying and we're not looking at lead to all kinds of illnesses in the body. We're imploding. Not just that, when we live in this repressed state, it also leads to memory loss. We're trying to forget. Yeah? Leads to memory loss. Leads to relationship fiascos, financial fiascos, difficulties in the workplace. Wherever we go, we are a magnet for suffering because we're carrying so much suffering within us. It has to be released. It has to be purged. When we come of age, good Lord says, okay, now, my man, my woman, it's time to let go. Zap. Crisis. Yeah. It can be a great blessing if we meet it correctly, or it can be a ticket to our next rebirth. The descent has to be made into ourselves. Yeah? Sorrows that have no vent in tears will make other organs weep. We break down. Not skillful. Not skillful at all. The best way to go through this purification period is to establish a regular sitting practice, meditation practice. Because if we are busy running around and still doing our best to avoid looking at what needs to be looked at, it doesn't work. Yeah, we need to sit quietly, be with ourselves, and let our heart and our mind heal themselves. They know how to do it. They just need the right conditions in which to do so. Stillness, it happens in silence. Yeah, regular, not haphazard, not when we feel like. Regular, systematic sitting practice is imperative. So when we're sitting and these things, these unresolved issues, these memories that we have suppressed, we've forgotten about, these old hurts, bubble, 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 come to the surface. We have to do the following. Imperative. No control, no judging, just witnessing. Yeah? No trying to control things. We have to allow ourselves to step into the unknown, as I did. How will I do it? I don't know anybody in India. How will I do it? Unknown. Yeah? Let God look after you. We have to let go of control. And here we definitely need non-attachment to whatever's happening. No attachment. Not detachment, no attachment. Yeah? Non-attachment. No judging. I like it, I don't like it. It shouldn't be like this, it shouldn't have. No, less narratives, the better. Just witnessing. And when we are in that still state, we're also in the receptive state. And when we're receptive, that's when we open to guidance from beyond. Not guidance from ego, beyond. Okay, that's the process of meditation. But it needs to be guided. Now, when these dark periods occur in our lives, for some people it can last for months, some people it lasts for years. Hey, just deal with it. Yeah. It's best to have a teacher we can rely on close at hand. Close at hand means easily accessible. Just a phone call away. I'm flipping out. Help me. What can I do? Yeah. As you're standing on the edge of a 20-foot building, 20-story building, ready to leap because you can't handle the pain. Oh, what do I do? Must be, I want to go skydiving. Darling, settle down. Settle down. Just step back and let's talk. Yeah, you need someone there when things get a little bit turbulent. I know of quite a few people who've been in these meditation retreats, have not established any close contact with a teacher, and started doing the practice all by themselves. And they're now in their next rebirth. When these dark periods come, they can be overwhelming, absolutely overwhelming. And we need someone there to guide us out of this dark period correctly. Very, very important. Okay, so please understand that genuine spiritual practice is not a walk in the park. Genuine spiritual practice involves the purging of the toxins we are carrying within us because it's ballast. It doesn't allow for effortless living. It has to be jettisoned. Yeah, we don't need this weight we're carrying inside of us. It prevents this smooth flowing of our lives. To flow smoothly in this world, as I said in the last class, we need to, if you want to swim with ease, remove the clothes. You don't swim with a jacket and backpack. Remove that backpack. Thing is, when we suppress these painful emotions, then do you know what happens? Then the elevating emotions, the rapture, the joy, the wonderment, the bliss, the love, the compassion, whatever, they go into hiding. Yeah, can't access them. And because we are not accessing this joy, this love, this enthrallment, we're bored out of our wits. We're restless. We need entertainment because life is too boring. But it's boring because you're not in touch with that joy. You're not in touch with the joy because you're carrying the dragons and the demons that need to be released. Genuine spiritual practice requires imperative to be still enough, silent enough for the good Lord to talk to us and for us to release, to purify garbage that is not serving us. So, with the same intuitive drive that propels snow geese. Have you seen snow geese? Beautiful. I've seen them. Snow geese have this migratory pattern every winter and spring to their breeding grounds and their eating grounds. Yeah, every winter and spring, they fly around 10,000 miles over the vast distances. Yeah, with the same intuitive drive that propels them on their migratory flight from one place to another at precise timings. That same intuitive drive is in us to know ourselves. Our spirit is calling us, it is screaming out, wake up. The thing is, we're not listening. We're not listening because our attention elsewhere. Pleasures and possessions. Hallelujah. For us to hear the voice of our spirit, for us to follow the wisdom of our spirit, we need to be present to ourselves. And we need to be ready and prepared to hear that call and to follow its directives. Because it's the best way to live, not through ego-driven desires, not through reason and logic and emotions. Nine. So why are we not present to this voice of our spirit that is calling us? Quite a few reasons. Let's just take a look. We have not been educated by parents. Blame them. Or society. Point the fingers right there. We have not been educated to deal with the difficulties we go through life. We face so many difficulties in our journey through life. Don't know how to deal with them? Suppress them. Look at the amount of pubs out there. After work, let's slosh. Why? Can't handle the stress at work. Can't handle the stress with the babe at home. Can't handle the stress with our kids. That one is now a Hell's Angel. And that one is in that commune, in that zombie forest. What to do? Yeah, drugs, drinks, busyness, distractions, social media, Netflix, all to escape the distress we carry within us. Why? Because we have not been taught to deal with this distress. It's natural that we will do our best to numb ourselves. Yeah. But when we numb ourselves, we cannot experience this effortless, brilliant way of living. Flow with life. It's impossible. There's so much effort, so much energy. We age before our time. And cause untold damage to the planet. Not present. The thing is, the law of cause and consequence is watching us. When we postpone what should never be postponed, ever, ever, never, ever. When we postpone what should never be postponed, the law of cause and consequence draws out the tragic implications. Ill health, relationship fiasco, financial disaster, difficulties in the workplace, fear, doubts, insecurities, bypass surgery, whatever. The law of cause and consequences or consequence draws out the disastrous implications of living unwisely. Think of the farmer I talked about. Latch. Fix the latch. You know it is about to break. Fix it before it breaks. No, I have other things to do. Okay, here's the good news. Good news. Just as it takes thousands upon thousands of repetitions, decades of diligent practice under guidance, of course. Yeah, decades, years of practice, skilled practice under proper guidance, and enormous patience, enormous ocean of patience to coax, to evoke, and to coax rapturous music from any musical instrument. Yeah. Thousands upon thousands of repetitions, years of dedicated practice, an ocean of patience before we can be a master musician, coax rapturous, mesmerizing, enthralling music from any instrument. The same coaxing is required. Yeah. Activation energy. The same coaxing is required on our nice little, with flowers maybe, meditation cushion. Yeah. It's just can. Yeah. The same coaxing is required in our practice, either on the meditation cushion, not either, not just on the meditation cushion, but also in the way we live our lives. Yeah. We have to fumble, get in the playing field of life, make mistakes, hurt people. It's fine, but you learn from the experience. Then, then we become a conduit, channel through which heaven flows to earth, and life becomes effortless. brilliant beyond measure. So the greatest benefit in right effort, in right practice, is that we meet these moments of truth correctly in their reality check form, in their purification form, and in the process of facing these dragons, in the process of perfecting ourselves, we become a person of substance. No more masks, authentic, no masks, no trying to prove it to anyone, anything. None. A simple weirdo that you are. Look at me. I'm pretty weird. Yeah, I don't care. I love it. We become a person of substance that is not just capable of transforming any challenge that comes our way. Brilliant. We have the skills. The universe is guiding us. But we also acquire this unshakable certitude that all is well in our world. Regardless of appearances, all is well in our world. Our partner has left us, emptied out our bank account. No worries, mate. No worries. Stay well. You have an accident, lose your leg. Oh, one leg's gone. Oh, no worries, mate. I still have another one. Hop around. No worries. Yeah. Regardless of what comes along, it's all good. It's all good. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, universe. Thank you. Yeah. So the best form of living, please understand, the best form of living comes to us when we make those periods of stillness and silence a sacred obligation that we have to honor. When I started practicing 6 to 7 in the morning, 6 to 7 in the evening, nothing shook my practice, nothing. Yeah, I was true to it. That's why within 6 months, insight. Most people never even come close to an insight in any given rebirth. And I've had several. Okay, why? Dedication, honor your commitment to waking up. No wishy-washy practice. There's no better way of living than to create those moments of silence and stillness through which the good Lord flows to us and we're able to celebrate life. Can you imagine anything better than that? There's no Netflix program on that that's better than that. There's no possession better than that. No accomplishment better than that, than to be in service to God. Nothing compares. Ladies and gentlemen, right effort. You don't have to struggle through life. You don't have to live in fear and doubt and insecurity. You can just, like a child, trust the parents to look after it. No worries for kids don't have insomnia. We trust. We trust life and we're guided in just miraculous ways. Wake up. Get your priorities straight. Thank you for listening. Stay tuned. I'm back. Here's a video that I'd like to watch. There are more of these videos on YouTube. Check them out, please. Yeah. This is a video that is a clear example of being in flow with life. It is so inspiring that I've included it in this talk. Please watch it and watch the other videos which are on YouTube in on the same theme. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant stuff. Okay, here's video.
I love my sharks, and I start seeing them coming in with these hooks. The hook removal started like anything would start when you love someone. I just wanted to make their lives a little bit better, to relieve their pain. With Foggy Eye, one day she showed up and she had one that was actually inside. I would open her jaw and see the hook. And then at a certain moment, I decided to basically stick my hand in and pull the hook out. But then as soon as she came back, she allowed me to pet her. And from that day on, became a shark that would just show up on the dive. And all of a sudden, I will feel a pressure on my hip. And I will turn around and she'll be like leaning into me, just stop swimming. This change of personality from before the hook and after the hook was very much a light bulb for me. When I remove the hooks, I feel happy, satisfied, and relieved. And then the other thing I notice is as I start removing hooks from my known sharks, other sharks start showing up with hooks. People ask me, do they communicate? And I'm like, yes. They're very accepting. Sharks in general in the world are very tolerant of our presence, entering their world. I wanted to pet a shark from the first moment I saw one. It took a year and some time before the transition between being a diver and then being a professional and then working with sharks and then finally having a shark in my lap. It's understanding that it's done on the shark's terms, not on mine. Because every time a shark does that, I do realize what a privilege it is. This is a wild animal, and she's given me full trust. It's a complete abandonment, saying, well, in this moment, I trust you. You're not going to hurt me. It is something to be absolutely in awe of, no matter how many times it happens. What I developed is an appreciation for their vulnerability. I've dedicated a lifetime, 26 years, and 25 of those have been spent in the water with sharks. We may still be a little bit afraid of sharks, but we need sharks. The sharks are vital for balancing the ecosystems. And this planet survives on the balance of the oceans. They have been affected by our fishing, by our coastal destruction, by our pollution. This is the box of hooks that I've removed through the years, over 300. I think sharks are absolutely beautiful. I love how they sinuously swim through the water. Like my parents taught me, there are no monsters in the sea, only the one we make up in our heads.